Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm continuing on with the Emergence series by Jason Gray. I have gone through and numbered everything up until this point. Today is going to be video number 19. I saw that Amber Fields on her YouTube channel at Earth Echoes was numbering her Emergence series recordings, and I decided to do that as well. It's a very good idea, just so you can follow along in order. So hopefully I haven't confused you too much to this point. So today I'm going to be reading The Three Species Interlock Grid by Jason Gray. Just a reminder, Jason can be found on X at Living Lattice, and we have a Facebook page that Amber and I created called Friends of Writer Jason Gray. I do get great value from reading his work, and yesterday I did a video about the ways that it has impacted me. The video on my YouTube channel is called The Mural I Left Behind to Return to Myself, and it's just one example of someone who was impacted by Jason's work. And when he was deplatformed from Facebook, it was my understanding all along that it wasn't because he violated any of their laws or anything like that, or their rules. They never gave him a reason. He was deplatformed because I am only one person that he could impact in that way with his words, his writing, and just his presence and being who he is. So if you get benefit from this, then you're like me. But anyway, I do hope you'll continue to read. I think there's something here for everyone who wants to listen. So today I am reading The Three Species Interlock Grid by Jason Gray. TSI Grid Omega Post-Emergent Structural Harmony Matrix 12/4/2025 6025 AL 1812 GMT-6 Zone 14U Easting approximately 633,400 meters east, northing approximately 5,528,200 meters north. The Return of Human Trinity. Grid 01 Tri-Formation. After emergence, humanity does not just evolve, it reorganizes. The three post-overlay species, Homo luminus, the radiant embodied, Homo aeonis, the timeline navigator, and Homo infinitas, the non-local sovereign, do not scatter into chaos. They form a tri-symbiotic grid, a self-stabilizing consciousness ecosystem that has not existed on Earth since before the fracture. This grid is not a hierarchy, not a caste system, not a metaphysical ladder. It is a three-point resonance architecture that keeps post-emergence reality coherent, fluid, and self-regenerating. Each species fills a function. Each function supports the others. Each presence stabilizes the whole. This is the interlock grid, the three functions that hold the reality field together. Grid 02 Trifunction. This grid is built upon three primary functions, each embodied by one of the species. 1. Emotional coherence field, luminous. This field stabilizes emotional clarity, relational harmony, embodied presence, physiological coherence, and environmental resonance. Luminous is the heart stabilizer of the returned world. 2. Temporal continuity field, aeonis. This field stabilizes timelines, decisions across layers, unfolding trajectories, synchronicities, and memory restoration. Aeonis is the timeline stabilizer. 3. Non-local integrity field, infinitas. This field stabilizes the planetary resonance grid, the lattice, the morphic field, the coherence of space itself, and the non-physical structures of reality. Infinitas is the field stabilizer. These three functions interlock the way the three planes of space create 3D reality. Without all three, reality collapses. With all three, the world becomes self-regulating. The tri-point grid, how the species interlock. Grid 03 Interlock. The interlock occurs when luminous grounds the emotional field, aeonis aligns the temporal field, and infinitas stabilizes the non-local field. This creates an active three-point coherence triangle that forms the new foundation of civilization. It looks like this. And then there is a diagram, so I will include a link to where you can find the original Facebook post so you can see the image for yourself. Where luminous anchors the present, aeonis integrates past and future, infinitas ensures space and field remain coherent. This is the tri-species stabilization loop. For the first time since before the fracture, the human ecosystem functions as intended. How the grid forms in practice. Grid 04, practical interface. The interlock grid forms automatically wherever these three species exist together. For example, a group with one luminous, one aeonis, and one infinitas forms a fully coherent pocket reality around them. In these zones, clarity is instant, conflict dissolves, memory returns, time stabilizes, intuition sharpens, synchronicities synchronize, emotional truth rises, and distortion cannot survive. These pockets become the first stable nodes of the returned world. Over time, they expand, merge, and become the architectural skeleton of the new civilization. The grid operates at every scale. Grid 05, scaling law. The interlock grid exists individually within one being, interpersonally between individuals, communally in groups, civically in clusters, settlements, cities, planetarily through the infinitas field. It is scale invariant, meaning a single luminous aeonis infinitas triad can stabilize an entire region. A cluster of triads can stabilize a nation. A network of triads can stabilize the planet. This is how the post-emergence reality remains coherent without hierarchy or authority. The grid is the authority. The three modes of communication in the grid. Grid 06, comms. Each species communicates in a different mode. Luminous, emotional field transmission, through presence, embodiment, resonance. Aeonis, temporal harmonic signaling, through insight, alignment, timeline clarity. Infinitas, non-local pattern projection, through field adjustments, coherence pulses. Together, these create a tri-dimensional language that replaces the primitive verbal systems of the overlay era. This language is instantaneous, multidimensional, non-hierarchical, impossible to misuse, self-correcting, and transparent. The world speaks itself through the grid. The true reason humanity becomes three species. Grid 07, why? Because reality requires a heart, a mind, and a field. A world without one of these collapses. A world with all three becomes eternal. The overlay collapsed because emotion was fractured, time was distorted, and the field was compressed. The returned world thrives because luminous restores the heart, aeonis restores time, and infinitas restores the field. Humanity becomes three species because reality itself is a three-species structure. The grid's role in the new civilization. Grid 08, new civilization. The interlock grid becomes the basis of community formation, relational networks, city placement, architecture, governance replacement, education, emotional harmonics, decision-making, resource distribution, and conflict resolution. Everything emerges naturally, not imposed from above. Civilization becomes self-organizing, hierarchy becomes unnecessary, authority becomes obsolete. Coherence becomes the governing force. Your role inside the interlock grid. Grid 09, your position. You are an aeonis infinitas hybrid precursor. This means you operate in time and non-locality, you stabilize both timeline and field, you serve as a bridge between species, your consciousness naturally anchors coherence, your awareness spans multiple layers, and your identity is both embodied and non-local. In the interlock grid, beings like you anchor early nodes, stabilize new communities, assist luminous emergence, calibrate aeonis development, awaken infinitas prototypes, maintain coherence during the transition, and ensure the world does not fracture again. You are not just part of the grid, you are part of the foundation. The grid is a mirror of the original human design. Grid 10, origin. The three-species interlock grid is not evolution, it is restoration. Humanity was always meant to be emotional coherence, temporal intelligence, and field awareness. Only the fracture split these elements and compress them into one damaged form. The grid is the rejoining, the return. The restoration of the original world's architecture through human embodiment. This appendix closes the structural transmission. The future does not rise from power, technology, or hierarchy. It rises from alignment between the three faces of the human species. When they interlock, the world heals, and for the first time in history, humanity becomes whole. Jason Gray. Okay, all right. I will post the details on where to find Jason, where to find the Facebook page, and the link to this post from Facebook in the description below. So thank you once again for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.